Hello and welcome to an episode of Flying High with Flutter. I'm your host, Alan Wyma. Today I'm with Aman Gupta. He is the creator of Tailor, which is a very interesting, I guess I can call almost like a layout library. Welcome, Aman. How are you?
Thanks, Alan. Thanks for having me. I'm good. How are you?
Busy at work every day, so I'm hoping that this will stop soon.
Me too.
Yeah, we were just talking about your library, right? And I think it's quite interesting and fascinating. Why don't you? Because I don't know how to best to describe it to people. How would you describe what Tailor is and what it would be best used for? What kind of use cases?
Actually, I why I made it so. Let's like start with that. At what are the scenarios why you should use that widget? So there are like times. There are like certain scenarios where you need to calculate the size of the widget where you don't know that what's the size of this widget, and maybe you need to like adjust some of the childs of that widget. For example, like if you are placing some views in the grid view, so there are like so many screen sizes, and it takes like child aspect ratio and everything, so you never know like how it will look good and on the different screen sizes, so you have to adjust those children's as per the different screen sizes. So there may be like scenarios where your layout gets crumbled and like it looks a mess on different screens. So that's what I faced. I was actually working in a module in an application where I placed a grid view, and grid working with grid views like is a mess, and the children's you need to adjust the child aspect ratio and everything. So like what I face the problem is when I place a tile, and I have like some containers, texts, and images, and they were all just like cooking mess on different screens. So what I thought of doing is how do I fix it? So like I thought of calculating the size of that tile, how like the tile it's looking on different screens. I calculate it, and according to that I will adjust the size of its children. So like I without any thought, I didn't go online to find any similar kind of widget which calculates the size of any widget. So I made a class, the Tailor. It wasn't like initially Tailor, just like size calculate widget for my internal module, and just placed it, and it was like working good. So like after that I thought I faced like this kind of issue, so maybe like there are certain developers who faced maybe this kind of issue as well, where they needed to calculate the size of a particular widget and then adjust the size of the widget's children according to it. So why not make it as a package? So I just published it after that.
Now, how does it work underneath the hood? Are you using Layout Builder underneath there, or how does it all work?
Yeah, actually, first of all, I want to like tell you the difference between the layout builder and my widget, the Tailor. And when I posted it on Reddit that I made this kind of widget, and what are your reviews and comments on it? So many people commented that it's like almost same as the layout builder. Then like I told them that what layout builder is actually does is it actually gives you the constraints of the remaining space. So if there is like any remaining space, and if you wrap any widget around the layout builder in the layout builder, so if it give you the constraints of the remaining space, it doesn't give you the size of the widget. It tells you that this is the remaining space and you have to adjust your widget in that remaining space. And what my widget does is the Tailor it just calculates the size of the widget, where it is like 100 by 100 and width and height, and that's also that's what I like mentioned there, that the layout builder and the Tailor is like very different. And second, that you asked, I haven't done like anything similar to Get It. Like I've seen the code of Get It, and it's like very complex. I haven't done anything that. It's just a simple like a value notifier, and I am using the render box. If you have seen the code, so it's like very common to know if you want to know the size of the any widget, then like you can use the render box and get size of the widget. But what I did is I wrapped it around the a value notifier, so that it will give you the size changes dynamically. So that's just it regarding the code. Nothing like fancy, nothing like complicated.
Okay, so mostly just using the render box to kind of figure out the size.
Yes,
Okay, I didn't know you could do that. I actually never think I don't think I've ever actually used Renderbox for a project before, so that's quite interesting.
I haven't used the render box on that much level. If you go online and search like how to find the size of the widget, you will see to get a widget as render box and get its size. So like it's just one line of code. It's nothing that, like just I told, like nothing like fancy here. So it's all doing like Flutter. I haven't written any kind of complex logic or that anything. Nothing fancy there.
But you do have something separate, right? So I don't know if you did this for other widgets, but the app bar, you specifically made another app bar that works with this one. What's the difference and how does it work?
Yeah. Okay. So what? Why I made a separate widget for the app bar? Like app bar is a preferred size widget, so it's like different from the stateless widget, and you can't like wrap anything around the app bar if you go into the scaffold. If you are using it as a separate widget and app bar not in the scaffold, then obviously like it's just a normal widget, and you can use it anywhere and wrap anything around it. But if you are like using it in the scaffold, then you can't wrap around anything the app bar, because the app bar argument in the scaffold specifically takes the preferred site visit, not like any common widget. I faced like this issue as well, where like I made a custom app bar which was not full of width and have a like dynamic height and width, and I needed to adjust the icons and the text according to the app bar size. It wasn't like full length or full height, so that's why I made, and that's why I have to made another app bar widget for it.
Oh, okay, I see. But it does take an app bar, so are you like extending the app bar, I believe, for that size?
Yes, I am extended it with the preferred size widget, because if you are making a custom app, you have to like extend it with the preferred size widget if you are using it in the scaffold.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, are you using this in any kind of production apps right now?
Yes, actually, I am using that Tailor in one of my modules, and which is like about to be discontinued from the company. So yeah, it was using in the production.
Now, have you had any issues with it, or it just works perfectly every single time?
No, in my case, it was just like a like works completely fine. That's why I decided to publish it.
Now, you said the feedback has mostly been, has it been like half half or half as negative and half positive, or
It was not like a really negative. All like most of the comment, like I told you, is of like it's very similar to layout builder, and the layout builder does the similar thing. And then like I have to clarify this thing. Then that the layout builder does this and my widget does this. So there wasn't an like anything negative comment that oh, this is not new and this haven't like done before or like something. So mostly comments are just of layout builder and layout builder.
well, that's good. I mean, do you know anybody who's actually using this besides yourself and the app you worked on before?
I really don't know. I just published it a few days ago, and I really like don't much that care that like someone has to use it. Someone has to use it. I just wanted to like publish his. If it's useful to you, then you will use it, and otherwise, like it's just there another package, and then it's like that kind of feeling that yeah, you published your own package on the Flutter app. So like it really helps you in the job interviews if you tell that you have made your own package and you are the one using it as well. So yeah, that's kind of thing.
Yeah, but you did have a. I did notice when you put your post onto Reddit, that's how we saw your package. You had an issue with the name of the package, so you had to rename it or something.
Yeah, actually, like originally named it as only Tailor, and I didn't check the pub.dev that whether that name is available on the site. So when I was uploading, I was getting this error that you can't make changes to this repository. So like after like 15 minutes of figuring out that like what is actually happening here, why can't I upload my newest package and why it's saying that I can't upload it. So then I thought of like checking that is there any package available named Tailor or like not, and then like there was actually a package named Tailor which is like some kind of database, and it was actually discontinued 3 years ago. So yeah, and then I like read somewhere on the I think pub.dev site that once you publish the package, then you can only discontinue it. You can't delete it. You can't do anything about it. So the only thing you can do is like if you are having a similar kind of name, so you have to change it. You can't do anything about the already uploaded package. So like if you uploaded a package on the pub.dev, you can't delete it and you can't do anything about it. So if you don't want that others will use it, you like have to mention that it's discontinued. So that's why I have to change the name of my package to tailor to the typical pub.dev pub.dev package name tailor underscore flutter to like differentiate. And one of them on the Reddit mentioned this thing as well, like you have added the underscore flutter in your package, so I have to tell them. So I thought like posting it in the post as well. The name was not available.
Yeah, I see it now. I was trying to look for it on the pub.dev, but you have to open up advanced and then check on the include unlisted, I think. And then it finally comes up. It's a database.
Yes, unless you like put the full name tailor underscore flutter, you haven't found it. So you can say like there's disadvantage for my package if really someone want to use it or like search for it. So but that's fine.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Now I also found out how to find discontinued packages. That's interesting. Have you ever asked the guy to release the Tailor package to you so that you could reuse the name or no?
Yes, actually, I did. When I found out that the name was already taken, I like first look on in the docs of pub.dev that how the package name works. Is there any kind of mechanism, any kind of thing like you can do with the repositories? Because like the package is discontinued already and have been using by anybody, so why don't you just delete it? So that's why I like googled like what are discontinued package and how the packages on pub.dev works. So that's where I like saw that you can't delete and you can't do anything about a published package. You just like discontinue it and that's it. So then after that I emailed the author of the Tailor to for asking to like transfer the ownership or like do something. Then he said yeah, I will like look into it. If there's something, then I will get back to you. And then he emailed me like 2 3 hours after and told me like I can't do anything about it. I just discontinued it and there's no option to delete it, there's no option to take it down. Even I removed it from the GitHub, you can't do anything about it. So like you have to like rename your package.
Yeah, it's okay. Not too bad. I mean, there's a couple of packages doing it this way. I find it interesting that he calls it Tailor, but then it's actually called Tailor DB. So it's just like, why not call it Tailor DB? But anyways, it's
That's what I asked the same guy that why haven't you named your package Tailor DB? It fits a database package. Like why just Tailor? He reply. He just said like it was sounding cool. just Tailor.
okay. Yeah, I mean, besides your package, right? You also said you wanted to talk a little bit more about the Flutter, the future of Flutter, right? You said you had a. It sounded like you had some concerns about the future. No.
Not really concerns, but yeah, like I've seen many posts and like many views from other developers like React Native developers, native developers, and Ionic, like different kinds of developers around on LinkedIn and on other social medias regarding the future of Flutter. Like Google is hyping Flutter so much, and like in 5 or 6 years, the hype will go down, and Flutter will be just another SDK, and no one will be using it. And many other developers are shifting to it because the Dart is very similar to JavaScript. So like it's if you know JavaScript, so it's really easy for you to understand the Dart, and you can easily shift to Flutter. But there are many React Native developers who are very strict to like React Native, especially now because the Flutter, like there is a boom of Flutter right now. And I've seen like many, if you can say, like service-based companies which made applications for like other companies are switching to Flutter because it's really easy, and Flutter gives you like beautiful UIs, and there are so many packages now. The very active community and all of the things, and like that's why they are switching to Flutter. So yeah, I really don't know that what's gonna happen after 5 6 years, but like right now, it's like really the Flutter is like something big now, like really big now. So let's see like what happens to it, what will happen to it.
Actually, the one thing I always see coming up recently, I actually subscribe to the thread on GitHub, is all about when can Flutter support hot code reload. That seems to be the only thing that I see consistently people always asking about and saying, "Oh, look, React Native can do it. How come Flutter cannot? This is bad. This is stopping Flutter from being so great." It's like, not really, in my opinion. Have you ever seen this kind of thread going on?
Yeah, I like sometimes follow issues and threads on like Reddit and check some issues on Flutter and like what's and like there are so many features which developers want. Like for example, like there was a feature I think 2 years ago when they updated Dart. Right now it's like 3.3. I think the current version of Dart is where they made enums like classes where you can define like string and their values and define their values for the enums. Earlier you can't do that. You did just can define the enums and you can't like define their values. You have to like make an extension or something, and like you have to use the describe enum function to get the string of the enum. But like now after the Dart 3.0, you can use enum as a class and define the values, which is very similar to Kotlin. You can do the same thing in Kotlin as well. So yeah, developers like there was this issue. I think 2 years ago someone raised it like we should have this kind of similar feature in Dart as well, which is released now like this year. So yeah, there are many features like this, and why these features are coming because like many people are shifting towards Flutter. Like many Android developers and who are working on Java or Flutter or like React Native, there is like an architecture pattern, MobX, which is very popular in the React Native community, and they made it a Flutter package of MobX as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good thing because many developers are shifting to the Flutter and bringing new features and contributing to it. So it's like really good. But yeah, it will like take time to bring these kind of features unless the community is very active. So one of the things I really like about the Flutter is the community is really active.
They are doing some pretty interesting things with the language. I think the Dart 3 will be really quite different than what we have in Dart 2. I heard there's going to be removing some things so you don't have to do always like there's supposed to be more meta programming, I believe. I think so. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, and talk about your Kotlin, right? I mean, for me, one of the cool things about Kotlin is the null safety. And now we have null safety, right, which is really cool.
Yes, sound and null safety.
Yeah, sound null safety, right? And I think that's really awesome. That will definitely help a lot with a lot of the code because null issues happen a lot, right, with other languages, especially JavaScript.
Yeah, and they like are told to migrate most of the packages to sound null safety to like more so that developers use this feature.
Yeah, but the other thing too, I don't think TypeScript has sound null safety, right? Or does it? I don't know what that has.
I really don't know anything about TypeScript.
I know they have like they do have like a question mark that could be like something that could be nullable, but I'm not sure how the heck everything works.
Yes, the nullable operator.
Do you ever have any worry about Flutter going away still? Because people still talk about that nowadays.
For now, at least, like as people like post oftenly, that in 5 to 6 years, the Flutter like will go down. So like I think like it might get true if the community is not really active. I think the only reason is Flutter. It's like spreading so much around the world, not just because of Google. It's I think because of the very active community. Not only the Flutter team engage more these kind of developers, like the creator of the Riverpod package, and as well they included it. Their team, the Flutter team, included the author and like similar authors and package developers in their team. So Flutter is like very much encouraging these kind of developers too, so that they should like actively contribute in the community. So I think as long as the community is this much is active, I think the Flutter stays. But if the community like stops or becomes still, then I think it will gonna be difficult for Flutter to survive.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing about Flutter is Somebody described it to me that Flutter is just as good as the ecosystem, right? So if there's not a lot of good
Yes.
packages, then Flutter becomes bad, right? It's weird because I mean, they're basically just on the building blocks. Sorry, they're basically like Legos. Like what you get is really almost for the main part, you get Legos, but you also get some good pieces too, right? But people are taking those Lego pieces and they're building some awesome libraries, like I said, Provider. Now RiverPod, I think 3.0 is out or coming out. A lot of cool packages. MobX is out. I think RiverPod 3 already came out. I can't remember now. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming out from people in the community, which is really awesome.
Yeah, the ecosystem, like I said, that it's really active and really good, always trying to help whenever I need like some kind of help on whether it's on Stack Overflow or Reddit or any kind of social media. I like always get quick responses from the developers, and they're always like keen to help others regarding the. Yeah, so like the main problem which like Flutter has, if you are like building a plugin, so like you have to write code in both in native and like iOS in the Swift language. So like you have to have the knowledge of both of Kotlin and of Swift if you want to make a certain type of plugin. For example, like if I want to like make a package around the Bluetooth, so like I have to know how to like implement it and integrate it in the Android native and Android iOS. Only then I can make that kind of plugin in the. Otherwise, like I have to rely on like someone and some other package, some plugin made by someone else.
But I mean, it's okay. But the other thing too is like I think there's a lot of people from outside of Google who are committing work to both Flutter and the Flutter ecosystem. So even if Google says they're not going to support it, I mean, I can't imagine it ever going away because it's so popular for everybody to be using for not just mobile apps too, right?
Yeah, if like Google ever thinks to like discontinue it and like shift to this repo to like someone trusted, and there are like many people I think who will fork it and make their kinds of version if ever Google like discontinue it. So there are people like I have seen many open sources softwares which are still alive and maintained by the authors and many like community and the ecosystem, many open source kind of softwares. So people are managing those softwares as well. So maybe like someone stands out, like developers, like the authors of Provider and Get It, and like many developers. And that one guy, I forgot the name, who like the head of I think the Flutter Vikings. I forgot the name of the guy.
I believe his name is Majid. He's in Switzerland or Norway. I think it's Norway because it's Flutter Vikings, right? It should be Norwegian.
He's like something else like guy. He's like developing so much in the Flutter. He's like making a game engine I think, and he made a Pac-Man in the Flutter, and he implemented I think the architecture X, something related to that, the like CPU, something related to like CPU which uses the like CPU to run that game. And he's currently I think building a game engine regarding videos on Twitter about his progress. And yeah, I think like there are guys like him who are very much keen to develop new and newer things with the Flutter. So as long as like they are contributing to it, yeah, Flutter, I think it's Flutter is going good.
Now, did you hear that Stadia from Google has gotten closed recently?
Now what?
So there was I think it's called Google Stadia. I might say the name wrong. What I understand is it's like I think you get like a shell of like a system, almost like if you got like an Xbox, but like just like the controller, and then your console will just connect directly to the cloud. So like your gaming machine is actually in the cloud, and so you just get like pushed. Again, I never play with it, but this is what I understand. It's like basically the meat or the engine of your gaming system is actually on the cloud, and you just get the shell of a system in your home, and you play the games, and all of your stuff is all in the cloud. Have you heard about this before?
Yes, I think I saw a similar kind of post. I forgot from the Google regarding this gaming. You know, Google always try something new, whether it's like gaming or like anything. Whether it's SDK or something, Google always try to like build something new, and which is like really cool. The only thing is like how longer these packages or these like SDKs will be maintained by from them, because like it's all open source, and the only revenue they are getting is like if we publish apps to the app store from the ad revenue, or and the like in-app purchases, and something like it's all open source. So as long as like they are contributing to it, like it's really good. But yeah, Google is like always try to something do.
Now, the reason I brought up the Google Stadia thing is some people, or I think they may be former or current employees of Google, state that the way Google works is like kind of like what you said. They promote innovation. They promote people to try things new, and they promote like really heavily like all their new stuff. But then once it goes out, then they don't give much promotion for like making that thing better or pushing it out to more people, right? So they're very much into look at this cool new thing I got, and then they kind of like drop it. Like in terms of like pushing it to people. Have you like thought about this or heard this before?
No, I haven't heard like this before, but I get what you are saying, and I think that's kind of similar is happening with the Flutter right now. I think there are many open source developers which are maintaining Flutter, which are maintaining more Flutter rather than the Google developers. They are contributing more. There is a chance that they are relying on these open source developers too much, and they are just thinking, oh, we just launched a new thing, and if someone wants to add something new, then there are developers out there, so they will add their features in it. What we have to do is we just like have to make it open, and what we can do is like put a pricing on the Google service and the Google cloud. We just put a pricing on the Google cloud, and whatever is uploading it, and the package is maintaining by the open source developer, so we don't have to pay about it. So I hope this kind of thing will not happen in the future, and Google developers will maintain their SDKs and packages, and like do not rely this much on the open source developers. Open source developers are like really cool, and they are working like for free. They are maintaining these packages, making these packages, these SDKs better and better day by day, just for for their knowledge, using their knowledge, using their experience to make it better. And like if you violate this thing like by doing that, and it's not like really.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. And it's kind of interesting because Google like, they do use Flutter heavily, even Dart by itself, right? For their backends. So it is a little bit weird like that they don't put so many engineers on Flutter and Dart. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there's less than 30 or less than 20 people between Flutter and Dart team. I really wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's just like that's what I feel like at least. But I don't know. I mean, it is interesting. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if they'll actually push more people to the team eventually. Or I mean, the thing is for like Google, I think Flutter is not really a direct moneymaker. I think they make some money from it. I think they sell like some consultant services or something with it. But maybe they need some more direct revenue to make it worth their while to stick more engineers on it. I don't know. Or or maybe this is what they calculate as a perfect number. Maybe if they add more engineers, they actually end up losing on it. You know what I mean? It's not really so optimum anymore because maybe they'll run out of like difficult problems to solve, and then they'll be working on another provider, something that we really don't need. I feel like we're turning into. I've been interviewing a lot of people with different state management solutions, new ones that nobody's ever heard of before. So I feel like we're going to become Node again, where it's like we have all these packages that are all managing state, but then, which one should you choose? What's the state management solution this week? This kind of problem, right?
Yeah, like I said that there are many outside developers like React Native developers on native which are coming to the Flutter and contributing to it, and like they are bringing these kind of things to Flutter as well. For example, like many statement solutions, like whether it is Movax or MVVM, and whether there are new solutions like Block or Provider Riverpod and something. And when I like started Flutter, I actually started as an Android native developer, and then I switched to Flutter. I still work on the Android, but I mainly works on Flutter now. I used MVVM architecture in the Android, and when I shifted to Flutter, when I started working on Flutter, I was like finding something similar in the Flutter, so that I can like resolve myself like easily in that, and I have to much read about the state management or architecture like solutions in the Flutter, but I haven't found anything. It was like 2019 when I started working on the Flutter besides the Android. So there wasn't like many packages that time, and definitely lot the MVVM state management as a solution. But yeah, as like the community grows, there are many state management solutions, and in one of the Google IOs, the Google developer mentions block, and like after that everyone is like oh yeah, we should use block, we have to use block, it's like said by Google, it's like said by Google, it's recommended by Google, you have to use block, you have to use block. So like everywhere I go, I just like here's this like same kind of thing, like you have to use block, you have to use block because Google recommended. So I just like questioned them. Only one thing, like Google didn't follow their own rules. If you look at their logos, and their logos is that G is not like symmetrical, and Google has like this material guideline that you can't use two tabs. If you have two tabs in the bottom navigation bar, you shouldn't use it, you should use the menu bar. But in one of the Gmail updates, they like put two tabs in the bottom navigation bar, and like for a couple of months, and then like switched it back to the three tabs after that. So like Google didn't follow their own rules, and it's like not necessary really. If Google recommended something, and if Google developer recommended something, then everyone should use it. I think every state management has its own use case, and has their own scenarios. I've seen many packages and open source applications which are using many state management solutions. Like they are using block, they are using provider, they are using riverpod, all in the one application. It was messy, but yeah, they are using, I think the scenarios and the use cases was different, and the developer thought that I should use this kind of like solution, this kind of state management solution for this problem. So yeah, if there is any beginner in the Flutter and wanted to learn the state management, then he or she will like definitely get confused, like which state management should I use. So yeah, it's like a really tricky part, but I recommend to like all the developers, like they should use every state management as per their use cases and as per scenarios, not like if some Google developer mentioned block in their Google IO, that if they are using block, so we have to use block as well. There are like certain scenarios and use cases for everything. That's what like I feel.
I'm almost wondering, like, so you still do Android and Flutter at the same time, right? You said that.
Yes, yes.
Like, do you feel that they should just drop Android and just push all in on Flutter, or no? Because that's what I kind of feel like sometimes. Because I feel like Flutter is easier than Android development, but maybe I'm wrong somewhere.
No, Flutter like is definitely easy than Android. Like for example, when I shifted to Flutter, and there is a thing called recycler view in the Android, which shows the list of any kind of list, and it recycles the view. So if the view is not showing on the screen, it just recycles it and didn't take its memory. If like it swipes up, and then its memory like shifted to the another view, which is coming from the bottom, and we have to make an adapter for it. So like we have to make a like a recycler view, and we have to define certain things in the like activity file in the Android, and we have to make an adapter which will take the recycler view adapter, which put all the things of the recycler view together. But if you like go to the Flutter, there is nothing like it. You just put a list view, you just define the list, just define the widget, and that's it. It will like work perfectly fine. So yeah, definitely the Flutter is easy than the Android, but I don't think that the native is going anywhere. Flutter, yes, I think it will go maybe in few years. I don't know, but native Android is like never gonna go, because there are many performance benchmarks between the Flutter native and the Flutter app, and the size of the application. If you say, if you generate an APK or app bundle from the Android and Android native, and from the Flutter, and so there are like many differences in the size. So yeah, I think these are the difference. Like these are the differences. So I don't think like the native is going anywhere. But yeah, Flutter is definitely easy than the native Android.
Okay. I mean, I just find it like difficult to understand how somebody can work on like how you can have Android and Flutter. But I guess Flutter is kind of its own weirdness. You know what I mean? Like they do a little, they kind of compete, but at the same time, I mean, you are compiling an Android app too, right? Because sometimes you have to have like a Kotlin class or something, right? So it's very weird for me to understand how this thing works. Yeah. I just feel a little bit strange about it. It's like, well, just ditch Android. There's no reason to ever write Android apps again. And you got Flutter and iOS. I mean, it depends, right? The iOS has got pretty good. I think they have a pretty decent ecosystem, but I haven't written an iOS app native in quite a while. But they all seem to be kind of going in the same direction of a Flutter like, build your UI with code kind of style. So I guess that's kind of the future now. And I don't know if Flutter did that on purpose or what happened, but it seemed like once Flutter came out and became popular, then everybody wanted to have their own style of doing a similar thing. But that's my outside view. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something else happened that I didn't notice.
Like it's completely fine to like think like that. And if you are following the Android community as well, the Android news, then they bring this thing called composable in the Kotlin, in which you can like define views very very similar to the Flutter, like how we define widgets in the Flutter. Same kind of similar thing you can do in the composable. So the Google is like bringing this composable thing in the Kotlin as well. In like Android we have two files for if we like want to make a screen. There is a view file which is like of extension XML, and there is a logical file which like binds the view to it, which is like written in Java or Kotlin. But now they bring this thing called composable, in which you have both of the things in the same file, in the same Kotlin file, like we are having in the Flutter. Like in Flutter we don't make different files for the view and for the whatever we are defining. So they bring this thing called composable, which is like really really good. And I don't know how it will affect the Flutter, because both are very similar in like operating and in the coding. So like let's see like what else, what a different like what else brings Google brings in the Android to make it Android native like more different than Flutter.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting to see kind of what other people also think too about how Android's and Flutter's going. Before we sign off, is there anything you want people to know? Maybe check out your Tailor library. Was there another library that you're working on, or anything that you want people to know at home?
Yeah, just like check out my library, Tailor. It's Tailor underscore Flutter. And yeah, if you found any issues or if you have any PRs, just visit, and like that's it.
Okay, so everybody home, in case you want to catch it one last time, it's called Tailor, Tailor underscore Flutter is the name of the package. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your work. Like I said, I don't remember if I talked about it on this podcast, but before this podcast, we were talking, and I said I really wanted to have a package like what you had because I had this problem and I didn't know how to solve it. I wanted to know like how much space I had to do something, and I couldn't figure it out. So it's good to hear. Or no, sorry, I think it was actually like how big a widget was, and then I wanted to be able to use that for something. I can't remember it.
The size of the widget, how big or small.
Yeah, there was something I wanted to use, and I can't remember what it was. So, but it bugged the hell out of me, and I think your package could have probably solved it for me. So, of course, how your package works could also work too. Anyways, thanks again for your time, and hopefully I'll have you back on again in the future.
Thanks for bringing me, Alan. Thank you.